record on this computer. All right, so let us jump into this now. So I sent you guys some images and so on. I hope you took a look at them. All right, so this is image number 1 I sent to you. All right, so persons of history spend the time and look through and kind of put some specific time period to these. Gold image, head of gold, Babylon, from about 605 BC, that's before Christ, to 539. The reason they count down, like from 100 down to 1, is the fact that they're counting toward Christ's birth. So everything, they treat like negative numbers. So like Christ's birth are basically almost like 0. And then after Christ's born, it's like 1, then 2, then 3. And they believe that Christ died about 33, 34 years old, right? So that's 33, 34. And then now, some years later, it's like 100 and 101. And so they go forward. But before Christ, they count backward, like negative numbers. All right. So it will be gold Babylon and is like 605 to 539. So give or take almost 100 years. Then now the silver, chest and arms, silver is Persia. All right. The kingdom of the Medes and the Persians, but they call it Persia because Persia was a greater kingdom and the Medes just merged into it, right? That's from 539 to 333 BC, almost 200 years. All right. And then now the bronze of Greece, oh, there's an increase here each time and almost by 100 years each. Then bronze, the belly area and to thigh, right? Greece, 333 to 49. All right. That's shortly, that's like almost like 50 years before Christ came. And then Rome now, about 50 years before Christ came. And it's a 33 AD, that's about when Christ died. But Rome ruled, as a matter of fact, Rome is continuing to rule basically up to now, you know. Rome is ruling up to now, but how do they rule? Not really through political domination anymore, as they did back here. They rule through religious persuasions. That is why the Pope is the basic religious leader of the world. Everything they want, they look to the Pope, right? But he's also a political power, right? So in the next one now, in Daniel chapter 7, so the comparison to the head of gold, right? Babylonian Empire, that is a lion with 2 wings. The chest and arms of silver is Media and Persians Empire. The bear raised upon one side, the Persians being the greater of the 2 nations. All right. So that is the bear. And the Greek Empire, and so on, Greece, that is the brass, here, the belly and thigh of brass. So that is compared to the leopard now, with 4 heads, which are the 4 generals of Alexander the Great. This thing out, if you can see clearly, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 heads, right? Representing his 4 generals who used to conquer the world. And the thing is, let me just backtrack a bit. It is my assumption, because I don't see it in the Bible. I look for eagle's wings, wings of a fall till me blue. I can't find it in the Bible. So I'm just saying this is my imagination here. It might be totally radically wrong, and I have no problem with that. But just saying. The Golden Empire was a great empire, Babylon, right? They said a lot of the 10 wonders. I hope you guys read a lot, because the only thing to talk about is like if you don't read a lot, history that we're talking about, not general reading history, it may sound foreign to you. The wonders of the ancient world, a lot of them come from Babylon. They were inventive, they were creative, masters in building. The society was the highest technology you could find was in Babylon. Yeah, high tech, so to speak. Yeah. So the eagle's wings, what I imagine to be like, they soared on high, their power and prestige and grandeur. Fowl, the leopard with the fowl wings, fowl don't fly as high. So let's work with that idea. But that is beside the point. That's not relevant here or there to us right now. Because if it was important to us, eagle's wing and the wings of a fowl, God would have told us clearly. We're not see that one. At least not yet anymore. The Roman or Islamic Empire. All right. So here's the thing now with Rome. Rome is a empire that the main thing about it is undescribed. They put a dinosaur here. The main thing about it can't be described. It just iron teeth with 10 horns. That's the only thing they describe it to be, right? Iron teeth with 10 horns. So that is kind of difficult, is I guess what Daniel was trying to say. Like, listen, this beast can't be described. It just look horrible, iron teeth, and it just cruel, wicked, right? But don't forget too the part here in Revelation, in Daniel chapter 27, where Daniel said at some point, 23 said, thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. So it is a domineering power, right? And at some point in time here, Daniel said, yes, verse 19, then I would know the truth of the first beast. This are the fourth beast. This is important because Daniel, this is the beast we're confusing Daniel, or at least he's interested to know about this fourth beast. So remember, the fourth beast comes after Babylon, Media Persia, Greece. Third, this is the fourth beast. This is the point where Daniel want to know about as well, because maybe, don't know, I don't know. He is thinking about the victory over the saints. I'm going to trample on the saints. All right, he might make war with them and overcome them. All of these things. Plus, most importantly, he might go speak great words against God. Right? He might go speak like some blasphemous words almost. And then God allows him to do this, even to the point where it says that he shall speak great words against the Most High. That's God, right? And shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times multiple. And just one more change. And laws multiple, not just one. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time, right? So this power is changing laws, it is changing times. We know, as we oftentimes go through, March 7th, 321 AD, Constantine tried to change the seventh day Sabbath to Sunday worship. But not only that, the direct laws of God he's messing with, trying to change up the Bible. They are no longer 12 hours in a day, but they're 24 hours in a day. God said from Genesis chapter 1, in divide light from darkness, in divide day from night. However, this power tries to combine them. Oh, they're 24 hours in a day. When Christ said they are 12 hours. So he's messing around with more than one things. More than one thing. He claims he's the vicar of Christ, right? He claims that it's not Father, Son, and Holy Ghost is the Trinity. It is the it is God, Mary, and the Pope, something like that. The Trinity of Catholicism. Let me just go into that a little bit. Yeah. The Trinity, the Roman Catholic Trinity. Let me see if we can find this. All right. The Roman Catholic Trinity refers to the belief of one God existing in three co-eternal persons, the Father, the Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. Yeah, you say that now, yeah. But let me see now. Let me ask this question directly then. Roman Catholic belief about Mary. Let me see now, right? In Catholic belief, Mary, the mother of Jesus, is highly revered and holds a unique place in both theology and devotion. She is honored as the mother of God, Theotokos, whatever, and is believed to have been preserved from original sin from the moment of her conception, immaculate conception. Catholics also believe in her perpetual virginity and that she was assumed body and soul into heaven. While Catholics venerate Mary, they do not worship her as they do God. There's some things that I hear are politically correct, but it's not true. Images. Let me show you a few things. That image. All right. Do popes pray to Mary? Just bringing us off with that. Yes, popes pray to the Virgin Mary. Yeah. So really, so if you know the thing I don't like with this AI thing, I tell you honestly, I don't like with it. If you don't know specifically what to ask it, because if you're ignorant to history, you can't get nowhere with AI. Because it will tell you just what it feels like telling you or what it is programmed to telling you. You have to know, right? Let me check for another one. Do Catholics worship Mary? Really? All right. That's not true. I wish I took hold of some books. I looked at the pictures and sent them in the group. Catholics do pray to Mary. They do. They pray and they worship Mary. So they do. I've read that too many times, even in their own books, right? When I was in the library at NCU. So when I read their books, they do worship Mary. All right. But in fact, she's a part of the Trinity. All right. She's the one you pray to get what you want from Christ because she tells Christ what to do. That's their general idea. They believe that Mary tells Christ what to do. Let me see if I can find that. Just to break a little bit. Why, listen now, why pray to Mary? Catholics pray to Mary not to worship her, but to seek her intercession with Jesus, her son, as a powerful advocate for their needs. See? They pray to Mary for Mary to tell Jesus what to do. They pray to Mary for Mary to tell Jesus what to do. They believe she, as the mother of God, has a unique and close relationship with Jesus and can effectively pray for them. This is what they believe. Let me try to preach it. You see, this AI thing is a disaster for people's soul. It don't tell you how it just think for you. And it no longer gives you information directly. Again, you can find the book. It go and get data and give to you what it feels like giving to you. Or what they program it to give to you. Keep saying feel like give to you. This is what they do. Yeah. But they actually believe in pray to Mary. Mary go and tell Jesus what to do. So your prayers are answered. See that you see it for yourself. Trying to put it nice and decent, diplomatically correct. Catholics pray to Mary not to worship her, but to seek her intercession with Jesus, her son, as a powerful advocate for their needs. They believe she, as the mother of God, has a unique and close relationship with Jesus and can effectively pray for them. According to the Franciscan Foundation for the Holy Land. I guess it's a book you have to find and read or some source. This is similar to asking a friend to pray for you, but the added belief in her special role as a heavenly intercessor. Yeah, man. Mary dead. Dead, dead, dead as dog, dead, dead. And she was not a virgin all her life. The book of Matthew tells us that. Pull up Matthew. Go and go back to what we're discussing. Anyway, Matthew chapter 1, last verse says this. Then Joseph, being raised from sleep, did as the angel of the Lord had bidden him, and took unto him his wife, and knew her not till she had brought forth her firstborn son, and he called his name Jesus. So therefore then, he knew her not until after she gave birth to Jesus. That's one. And two, Jesus had brothers and sisters as well. So at least quite a few times they were consummating their marriage or doing whatever married people do several times after Jesus born. So as opposed to this thing of perpetual virgins, I guess that's a whole doctrinal foolish by itself. That's why I guess some, what am I say to them? I guess that's why some women take on this idea now that they live their whole lives as loose persons, loose women. And when they get baptized, they regain their virginity. That's something that people actually believe and come to church with, that they can be out there and they could have, let's say, be prostitutes. 1,000 men could have paid them in the 10 years or 15 or 20 years that they're prostitutes. 1,000 men could have paid them and had sexual relationships with them. The moment they get baptized and come to Jesus, them a virgin again. They're born again virgins. Yeah, that is actually taught. That's actually taught in many churches. Yeah. Anyway, that's not our study right now. Yeah. So in the third year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision, a, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. So having an idea of what happened in chapter 2 and chapter 7, we should be better able to appreciate now chapter 8, because chapter 8 does not go in detail with all four kingdoms again. When pick up as to the areas that God chose to highlight to Daniel, not the whole vision. And when you go to the book of Revelation, are the same thing. God will highlight, let's say, 7 things, 12 things. Then he pick out 4 or 5 where he want to focus on. Right? So let's continue. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and as I was by the river Ulai. So that'll give you a good idea of where he was, river, name, district, province, and give you the full address, yeah? And somewhat the year, third year of the reign of Belshazzar. All right. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before me, there stood before the river. Hold on, let me go again. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. So here's the point. Can you remember any animal that had one side raised up higher than the other from Daniel chapter 7? You should start to recall that coming back to your mind now, yeah? An animal, one side raised up higher than the other. The bear, right? The bear we know represent Media Persia. So this vision of Daniel starts off with Media Persia, not Babylon. So Babylon is out of the picture. Babylon is out of the picture. It's just Media Persia now, right? At least the explanation might come later, right? And the higher came up last. That means the greater, the kingdom that is greater started after the first one, right? I I saw the ram pushing, oh, excuse me. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. Now, for matters of conversation, let's look here first, just to be clear. All right. Define, ram. All right. Oy. Ram as in animal, ram. Not computer, animal. All right. So much for AI, right? A ram is a male sheep. Sheep, right? Typically one that is at least 1 year old and not castrated, as in don't cut off in testicles, yeah? They are known for their distinctive large curved horns. especially prominent in some breeds, and their tendency to engage in headbutting behavior during the breeding season to establish dominance. So this here is a ram. All right. Remember, ram, male sheep. All right. Define he goat. So he goat, there's a difference, right? A he goat is a term used for a male goat. It's synonymous with buck or billy goat. The term is used to specifically denote the male of the species as opposed to the female doe or nanny or young kid. So remember, goat and sheep, while similar, are different species. They're similar. Our, our sheep is a softer nature, softer, more wool or hair like on them, if you want to call it that, right? Goat is a more robust creature, it's a stronger one, yeah? But that's not, if you really, well, let me not go into that. Let me not go into that. Right? I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. And as I was considering, behold, an he goat. So you have a ram, male sheep, and now a he goat, a goat, regular goat, rammy, all right? And as I was considering, behold, an he goat came from the west, on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the he goat had a notable horn between his eyes. So a one horn you have. The ram, the sheep, had two horns. This he goat had one, looking more like a unicorn kind of thing. And he came unto the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And it's not of his power. So as it is his own strength, it is his own might. Get no help from nobody really, A theme strength. So he really this by himself, right? That is important later on to right? And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with color against him. That means he's extremely angry. Those people who remember, there's a war between the Persians, Xerxes, and Greece, that country. The Persians came and burnt down Athens and some other places, right? And then guess what? Greece unified them, so they were like different, like Jamaica, and every Persia fight against one another, right? So they unite now, the whole country, and decide to go deal with the Persian and them. That is what happened. That's what the lesson history said, right? So this now is the ram. This is the revenge what the he goat have against the ram. The ram is Media Persia, and the he goat are Greece. So after the Media Persians come and then burn down and then destroy Athens and some other place and kill off enough of the people, then a few years later, Greece unite the he goat. And this is what I'm about to talk about come in the fury of his power, right? And he was moved with color. That means he's extremely angry. A revenge war, this. Revenge war, right? And he was moved with color against him. The strange thing about it is that if you watch, sometimes I make movies of this. For those of you who ever watched the movie 300 and the Rise of an Empire, kind of same, and them two same country they fight. And the same thing in the Bible that the Hollywood movie film after. The history of all of this from before Christ born. There are records of this in history. These two countries fighting, yeah? And smote the ram and break his two horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. All right. Therefore, the he goat waxed very great. Great indeed is the right name. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. So it points out this. So the notable horn, we're going to continue. We're going to see it later on. All right, Gabriel will tell you later on, right? And out of one of them came forth a little horn. The little horn come back up again, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great, and the little horn, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. Right? To me, what I understand this to be here, if you allow me a second, we're going to jump into the book of Revelation a little bit here, chapter 12, right? And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Listen up. His tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. If you look at this, it says this, and it was great, the same little horn, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground. It says here, never said this in Revelation, but it says this, and stamped upon them. This occurred before Revelation, But we can see the similarity. Something to pay attention to. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. So we find out who this he is, right? And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. So this little horn has nothing to do with nothing holy, by reason of transgression and sin. You have transgressions, you have iniquity, you have blasphemy, you have different kinds of sins. Transgression is one of them. I have trespass, transgression, right? And it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. It cast the truth to the ground. Now let me ask this question. And no, this one I need some feedback. How does one cast truth to the ground? That's very important. How would you cast truth to the ground? All right, put the chat here. Lying. Okay, perfect. Yeah, man. Yep, lying. If someone is telling the truth and you want to defeat it, what do? You tell a lie. You lie. You tell a lie and making it sound like truth. Isn't that what deception is? Isn't that what seduction is? Yeah, man. You tell a lie. And as we know, who is the truth? Who says, I am the way, the truth, and the life? So you see, really, who he talk about? The place of his sanctuary was cast down. So, and it's a Christ sanctuary. A Christ, he might try to get rid of and try and undo Christ. That's what he's saying, He's trying to undo Christ, as in get rid of the knowledge of God out of the world. Then I heard what, listen, let's continue, right? Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice? Listen up. Listen to what they say task. How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice? Let me highlight this here as this color. How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice? The daily sacrifice started here, right? It was great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. So here is what we see as clear as crystal. This little horn power did not rise up with the ram. It did not rise up in the image of gold. It did not rise up in the chest and arm of silver. Right? Media Persia, the bear and the he-goat and the ram. He rose up after the ram. After the he-goat. He rose up afterward. So if we are going to start on the 2300-day prophecy, let me show you. Let me look for it now and tell you. SDA begins the 2300 day prophecy when? The 2300 day prophecy, as interpreted by Seventh-day Adventists, is believed to begin in the autumn 457 BC. This date is linked to the decree issued by Artaxerxes of Persia in Ezra 7. That too is a lie. Now listen up, brethren. We are reading the Bible for ourselves. Realize the Persians were in rulership. That's what Adventists teach. But let's go again. Looking back here. When you see, he magnified himself to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. This occurred for Persia because the he-goat came and defeated Persia already. And this came up after Greece even. So why would they begin it there, so? That prophecy by Saint Adventist is wrong, you know. It wrong. It's wrong. Let's go to hold on. Let me pause a minute first. Sister Giselle, Brother Garfield, Brother Ricardo, Sister Anne-Marie, everybody who's here. Do you understand what we're trying to say here? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Everybody else. Ricardo says yes. Sister Giselle, what you say? Brother Garfield, what you say? It's important that we understand this. Something is seriously off with Adventist beliefs. Yeah, we know that. We know that. Tracy says yeah. And so I guess Tracy an answer for Garfield as well. But here is something I want to show you because I even forgot about this. This date is linked to the decree issued by Artaxerxes I of Persia in Ezra 7. Really? 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 All right. Let us go a bit further. The prophecy starting point is derived from the biblical account of Artaxerxes' decree, which is considered the most complete decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. Listen now. The decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. But let us go a bit further. Listen, brethren, let me tell you something. I don't hate Adventists, you know. I don't. I actually feel a great degree of compassion toward them. Honestly. But you see where foolishness there and lies, he have to point out. And the point about it is that when you speak the truth, who are the people who get offended? The people who don't know, not necessarily listen and try to figure things out, are the people who are telling lies. You sit down there, you try to figure out something, and one person speaking the truth, the other one telling some other story and tales. Who are the people who get offended? The people who are telling lies. So them say the decree by Artaxerxes, no problem. Let us hear what the Bible says. 2 Chronicles 36. All right. Listen to this, right? No, in the first year, a Bible, listen up. This is not my understanding of the Bible. I'm sorry. No, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished. You hear what I say? You hear what I say? That the word of the Lord spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, not Artaxerxes, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and to put it also in writing, saying, Thus said Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth hath the Lord God of heaven given me, and he hath charged me, listen up, and he hath charged me to build him an house in Jerusalem, which is Judah. Who is there among you of all these people? The Lord his God be with him, and let him go up. See the decree there, no? See the decree there by Cyrus, not Artaxerxes. Ezra points it again in the book of Ezra, because Ezra writes Chronicles, you know. It's believed that Ezra writes Chronicles. Here's what he writes. In the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Lord God of Israel. He is the God which is in Jerusalem. And whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, let the men of his place help him with silver and with gold and with goods and with beasts, beside the freewill offering for the house of God that is in Jerusalem. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites, with all them whose spirit God had raised to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. And all they that were about them strengthened their hands with vessels of silver, with gold, with goods, and with beasts, and with precious things, beside all that was willingly offered. Also Cyrus the king brought forth the vessels of the house of the Lord, which Nebuchadnezzar had brought forth out of Jerusalem, and had put them in the house of his gods. Even those did Cyrus king of Persia bring forth by the hand of Mithredath, the treasurer, and numbered them unto Sheshbazzar, the prince of Judah. And this is the number of them. Whoa, nothing to read here. All these of the gold and of silver were 5,400. All these did Sheshbazzar bring up with them of the captivity that were brought from Babylon unto Jerusalem. So as soon as Cyrus conquered Babylon, as soon as he conquered Babylon in the first year, he made the decree. I see you, Sister Anne-Marie, I see your hand, but no rest will be coming to you. And him alone give record of this. You know. Let's go to the book of Isaiah 44. Listen to how God himself talk about Cyrus. Cyrus doesn't born it. Listen to this, yeah? All right. Listen. I don't want to read so much about. All right, let's read from 24, right? Thus said the Lord, thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, and spreadeth abroad the earth by myself, that frustrateth the tokens of liars, You see? That frustrated the tokens of liars and maketh diviners mad. Diviners are people who love work witchcraft. Diviners mad, that turneth wise men backward and maketh their knowledge foolish, that confirmeth the word of his servant and performeth the counsel of his messengers, that saith to Jerusalem, thou shalt be inhabited, and to the cities of Judah ye shall be built. I will raise up the decayed places thereof. That saith to the deep, listen, that saith to the deep, be dry, and I will dry up thy rivers. God is literally telling how Cyrus will conquer Babylon, you know? Because what Cyrus did was to divert, I think, the river Euphrates that flow right through Babylon and under the city, some part of the city. And the river water went down and diverted away, and then they walked to the riverbed and go up in Babylon. That's how they conquered the city. That saith to the deep, be dry, and I will dry up thy rivers. That saith of Cyrus, Cyrus' mama and grandmama have born it. That saith of Cyrus, he is my shepherd, and shall perform all my pleasure. Even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built, and to the temple thy foundation shall be laid. Verse 45. Thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus. A heathen kings gonna talk about, you know. But say, me go put my spirit in them for do what me want to do. That thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him the two-leaved gates, and the gates shall not be shut. This is that I will go before thee and make the crooked places straight. Crooked the river I run through, winding through. I will break in pieces the gates of brass and cut in sunder the bars of iron. And I will give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I, the Lord, which call thee by thy name, am the God of Israel. For Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect, I have even called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no God beside me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me. Listen, God don't tell exactly how Cyrus will conquer Babylon. And if you read, I'm going to find the history I sent in the group. I see him so in conquer. He diverted the river course, so the river go down, and him marching army through the riverbed, go up into Babylon. And because Belshazzar, little mad king there, having party, and go call the man if he bring God's holy vessels and come. And him and in concubines and in lords and captains drinking and the writing up on the wall. In the city a party, they forgot to lock the gate will lead to the river. We go down and lead to the river. And I see a place I was coming through. Them busy a party. What's the issue say? Mr. Anne-Marie, go ahead now.
Yeah, and when he said that God did said his bowls, remember that his bowls, I think it's
Yeah, man.
Daniel 5, Belshazzar.
Yeah, man.
His bowls
He messed up
loosened.
himself.
Yes.
Let's go. Let's bring it. I wasn't going to go there, but let's bring it up.
Um um when you read
Go ahead.
when Ezra, when Cyrus made that decree for Jerusalem to rebuild, that don't have anything to do with the 2300 prophecy, 2300
No,
day.
no, no, no. It was a prophecy to speak about when Christ will come, as in the first coming. Then the king's countenance, let me read this, right? In the same, let me read from before. Let me read from verse 1. Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords, and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, whilst he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem. that the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink in them. God's holy things, you know. I heard my brethren Dave to me say, never listened to the other day, and talk about say, Nebuchadnezzar was not the father of Belshazzar, but his grandfather. Well, guess what? He said father. Me not reckon no grandfather. When I say Christ is son of David and so on, and I use grandparents, right? But he say I ain't father, me not taking no grandson nothing. And to say like the son of his son of whoever. No, me not say that in the Bible, right? Anyway, continues, right? Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of God, which is at Jerusalem. And the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drank in them. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone. In the same hour, you know, saying that God shall not be mocked. God is not mocked. Yeah. In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Then the king's countenance was changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against the other. The man knee a clack, 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 like a knee, and he can imagine saying, he knee them a beat together like man literally afraid. And he filled up himself. He boy just release. That place must have been a stink place. I guess I wouldn't him alone. Parliton stink. So you see where God prophesied about another joke thing. That is why, you see, Virgin, me not tell you lie no. Me not tell you no lie. Me afraid. When me see how people treat the word of God, me afraid for them, you know. Me afraid for them. Me literally say, come on, on a better top. Because you know where I can lick on. No joke. The Bible makes it clear in Chronicles, in Ezra, and in Isaiah. The decree was made by Cyrus. There was a decree made by Artaxerxes, yes. No joke about that. But the Bible doesn't about Artaxerxes and Cyrus, it said. Ezra given the record. Let me start it off. Let me just finish it off. When we continue. So in the book of Ezra, chapter 7, as I said, right? So here's what happened, right? This Ezra went up from Babylon and he was already scribed in the law of Moses, which the Lord God of Israel had given. And the king granted him all his requests according to the hand of the Lord his God is upon him. And there went up some of the children and of the priests and Levites and singers and porters and Nethinims unto Jerusalem in the 7th year of Artaxerxes the king. And he came to Jerusalem in the 9th month, which is the 7th year of the king, upon the first day of the first month, and began he to go up from Babylon. On the first day of the 5th month came he to Jerusalem according to the good hand of his God upon him. So there was a decree from Artaxerxes, yes. But an Artaxerxes decree. They shall be counting from, and I don't want to confuse you. What happened here is that a decree was made, all right, to go and treasure treasures and so on. I do the same thing. Let me know how much verses now. Let's read it, all right? Then Darius the king made a decree, and search was made in the house of the rolls, where the treasure were laid in Babylon. And there was found at Achmetha, in the place that is in the province of the Medes, a roll. And therein was a record thus written. In the first year of Cyrus, the same Cyrus, the king, made a decree concerning the house of God at Jerusalem. Let the house be builded, and the place where they offered sacrifices, let the foundation thereof be strongly laid. The height thereof 3 cubits and whatever the breadth and so forth. And also that is the decree, right? I talk about what should happen, right? That is the decree that was made again. But that was not the decree. The decree was made by Cyrus. And the law of the Medes and the Persians can't be changed. That's why Daniel was thrown in the den. And even when the king on a trial reversed the decree, they said, King, you can't change the decree because the law of the Medes and the Persians cannot be changed. But anyway, but let's go a bit further. Hope I'm not confusing you. Hope I'm not. Come a detour a little bit for the 2020 days now. Here is what is spoken of, which had nothing to do with 2300 days. And if the decree of Cyrus had nothing to do with 2300 day prophecy, had nothing to do with it, it was to go and rebuild Jerusalem. And here what it says now, right? In the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years whereof the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah. See, come again? Jeremiah? See, read the Chronicles? The prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolations of Jerusalem. 70 years. And I set my face unto the Lord to seek by prayer and supplications with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. I prayed unto the Lord my God and made my confession and said, O Lord, the great and dreadful God. Is we call the great and dreadful Jesus, you know? O Lord, the great and dreadful God. Keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him and to them that keep his commandments. We have sinned and in prayer, right? In prayer, fairly lengthy prayer, right? But let's continue. Um, let us see. All right. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken. In the ending of the prayer now. And lo, differ not for thine own sake, O my God. For thy city and thy people are called by thy name. Remember, we have verse 29 now. Listen, it says, in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years whereof the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolations. That means in the time when Jerusalem are going to lay desolate. I want different prophecy altogether. Different prophecy. Here is what happened now, right? And
Excuse me.
whilst I was speaking
Hello, babe,
and
babe.
praying, yes,
Can you go back there so with Jerusalem lay desolation?
lay desolate,
Yeah.
verse 2, yeah.
Um, that part is the part before before Cyrus did make the decree to rebuild back Jerusalem.
Yes.
Okay, so it would be
When
so Daniel understand the 70 year in Jeremiah when Jerusalem would be desolate.
will be destroyed because Nebuchadnezzar's father came and destroyed Jerusalem
Yeah.
and took some of the people them captive. That's why you find in Daniel chapter 1. That's why
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Daniel, Ananiah, Mishael, Ananiah,
Azariah.
Azariah, Daniel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those four young men, they were the ones who were taken captive by the Babylonians.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the prophecy that began at that point, 70 years of desolation.
Mm.
So after 70 years now, Cyrus made the decree. See?
Can
All
you
right.
repeat that?
After this is the 70-year prophecy about
Yes.
the number of years when Jerusalem lay desolate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then conquer and destroy the city and burn down the gates and the walls and so on
Yeah, yeah.
and so forth, right? Okay. This is a different prophecy, but because in a Jeremiah that the prophecy occurring now, in the book of Jeremiah. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
let's continue now, right? So Gabriel come now and give the answer, right? And whilst I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people, Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Lord my God for the holy mountain of my God, Jerusalem matter, right? Yea, whilst I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. And he informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding. At the beginning of thy supplications, the commandment came forth, and I am come to show thee, for thou art greatly beloved. Therefore, understand the matter and consider the vision. Which vision? 70-year vision. And the problem. See there? And that's what I don't understand. 70 years in this at this additional time at about, not 200 days. Let's continue. Here is what Gabriel says. Yeah. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon the holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity and to bring in everlasting righteousness and to seal up the vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy. This is one different line of conversation from the 20 days, right? Know therefore, understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks. So 60. 2 weeks are 62, right? 7 weeks are 69 weeks, right? The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times. After 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood unto the end of the war. Desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And from the covenant, remember the new covenant that Christ is bringing. Remember the new covenant that Christ is bringing. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, the veil ripped in two. And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. This is talking about the coming of Christ. This 70-year thing and 70-week thing is talking about the coming of Christ, not 2300 days. What's it? Seriously? This is what it says. And then now, in the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto me, whose name is called Belteshazzar, and the thing was true, but the time appointed was long. And he understood the thing, and had understanding of the vision. In those days, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. Yeah? So a different story again. It cannot be that we sit down here and combine 2 different prophecies because we want to suit ourselves. Anyway, let's continue. I know I kind of break on the something a while ago that I hope I didn't lose you. Maybe I did. But I need to backtrack a little bit. Everybody following what I'm saying? What we're going through so far? Come on, if you're not following, just put no in the chat. If you're having difficulty, just put no in the chat. I'm clear so far. Giselle, you clear? You good? I don't want to lose Giselle either, you know. Giselle, Tracy, and the prophecy of 2300 days in Daniel chapter 8 and Daniel chapter 9 are 2 different prophecies. That's what I'm exposing to you. They are 2 different prophecies. One had to do with the coming of Jesus, and the other had to do with something that's coming way down the road. Right? The little horn power speaking great things. Not really, but you're trying. All right, Giselle. Let's see if we can pinpoint 2 things to you, right? All right. Let me see now. Let me backtrack to here. All right. Let me go to chapter 7, right? All right. So, Giselle, I consider horns. Let's read from verse 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn before whom there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the angels of days did sit. So this is me, I need to respond to me distinctly now, right? You know, if you better unmute your mic if you don't want to. But you understand this, that verse 9 don't happen here, right? I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the angels of days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. All right, so you understand that books were open and so forth and so on. So you understand the judgment of God don't come here, right? Yes or no? Yes. Good. The judgment of God has not come yet. So here is what we are trying to share with you, Sister Giselle. This prophecy, like chapter 2, is talking about kingdoms. Hold on chapter 9 for a while. I went there for a reason, but we can come back to that. The image that was seen in chapter 2, head of gold, breast of silver, the mountain cut out without hands, and God came, right? So here is the point. God not come yet, so judgment can't start yet. So what we're sharing is this. Since judgment not start yet, it would mean then that this prophecy of Daniel chapter 2, talking about the rise and fall of kingdoms, and Daniel chapter 7, which goes in a little more detail, using the beasts and so forth and so on, again about the rise and fall of kingdoms, is a different thing from Daniel chapter 9, which talk about the coming of Jesus in the 70-year desolation of Jerusalem. That is what we're suggesting. This prophecy is about Jesus, the coming of the Messiah. Right? A matter of fact, let me look for this. Messiah and do a search. Not so much time the word count in the Bible. Me granny twice in the book of Daniel, chapter 9. Twice. So this talking about Jesus is a separate prophecy from the ones that Nebuchadnezzar got, and with the big old image, gold and silver and bronze and so on, and iron, is a different prophecy than the one about the Messiah. The image and the beast, different beast, the man, leopard, and so forth and so on, all of those are one prophecy combined, explaining different parts, and the he goat and the ram. But this prophecy here about Jesus, 70 weeks and so on, is a different prophecy. That's what we're trying to share with you. Does that Do you see that there are two different prophecies in terms of one is talking about the kingdoms from Babylon until Jesus comes again and destroy this whole world, and one is talking about from a certain time to rebuild Jerusalem till Christ from the first time as a baby to suffer and die for us. That's what chapter 9 is dealing with. Do you understand that? All right, cool. So that is a different prophecy. So therefore, then, when in chapter 9 we see from the going forth of the decree to build Jerusalem, how or why should we start both prophecies at the same time? And are two different prophecies. This one started in the lifetime of Daniel. This one started in the lifetime because When the Medes and Persians come and conquer, let me see if I can show you. Because now we have to go divert a little bit. Handwriting on the wall. All right. How much verse is this now? 31. Yeah, you know what? Let me deal with it. Because I want to make sure you understand it, right? So let me deal with this, yeah? And anybody else too, right? To show you that Daniel actually lived through two different kingdoms reigning, Daniel lived in Babylon and was a governor, and he lived with the Medes and Persians to still a governor as well. Who wants to that? No, who wants to that man? Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, whilst he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden silver vessels and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple, which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink therein. Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of God, which was at Jerusalem. And the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drank in them. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone. In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Then the king's countenance was changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against another. Right? Hence fulfilling the prophecy of Isaiah chapter 44 and 45. The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers, and the king spake and said to the wise men of Babylon, whosoever shall read this writing, and show me the interpretation thereof, shall be clothed with scarlet, and have a chain of gold about his neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. Then came in all the king's wise men, but they could not read the writing, nor make known to the king the interpretation thereof. Then was Belshazzar greatly troubled, and his countenance was changed in him, and his lords were astonished, surprised, astonished. Now the queen, by reason of the words of the king and his lords, came into the banquet house. And the queen spake and said, O king, live forever. Let not thy thoughts trouble thee, nor let thy countenance be changed. There is a man in thy kingdom, in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. This woman at least know where I'm going. She know what to strike, right? So, and in the days of thy father, just listen now, and in the days of thy father, again, I don't know why Adventists keep saying Belshazzar was the grandson. Because the queen, I thought about what she know to in a lifetime. So she'll live a very long time to live there with in grandfather, chewing father, and come and live with the grandson. Now the grandson a big man and a king. It'll be a long time to be alive. Very old woman. And in the days of thy father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, was found in him, whom the king Nebuchadnezzar, thy father, again, the king, I say, thy father, made master of the magicians, astrologers, Chaldeans, and soothsayers. For as much as an excellent spirit of knowledge and understanding, interpreting of dreams, and showing of hard sentences, and dissolving of doubts were found in the same Daniel, whom the king named Belteshazzar. So Belshazzar and his son name. Belteshazzar is the name of Daniel. Belteshazzar, Belshazzar, two different people. Now let Daniel be called, and he will show the interpretation. Then was Daniel brought in before the king. And the king spake and said unto Daniel, art thou that Daniel which art of the children of the captivity of Judah, whom the king my father brought out of Jewry? All right. I have seen, I have even heard of thee, that the spirits of the gods is in thee, and that light and understanding and excellent wisdom is found in thee. And now the wise men, the astrologers, have been brought in before me, that they should read this writing and make known unto me the interpretation thereof, but they could not show the interpretation of the thing. And I have heard of thee that thou canst make interpretations and dissolve doubts. Now, if thou canst read the writing and make known to me the interpretation thereof, thou shalt be clothed with scarlet, and have a chain about thy and have a chain of gold about thy neck, and shalt be the third ruler in the kingdom. Then Daniel answered and said before the king, let thy gifts be to thyself, and give thy rewards to another. Yet I will read the writing unto the king, and make known unto him the interpretation. O king, the most high God gave Nebuchadnezzar thy father. I must about 5 or 6 times now I say Nebuchadnezzar thy father. Where they get grandfather from, I don't know. That is not stated one time. That is not even stated once. O king, the most high God gave Nebuchadnezzar thy father a kingdom and majesty and glory and honor. And for the majesty that he gave him, all people, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him. Whom he would he slew, meaning killed, and whom he kept alive, and whom he would he set up, and whom he would he put down. But when his heart was lifted up, and his mind hardened in pride, he was deposed from his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. That is Daniel chapter 4, when he became like an animal and eat grass and stuff, right? And he was driven out from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beast, and his dwelling was with the wild asses. They fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High God ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appointeth over it whomsoever he will. And thou his son, my granny, oi, and thou his son, O Belshazzar, hast not humbled thine heart, though thou knewest all this, but hast lifted up thyself against the Lord of heaven, and they have brought the vessels of his house before thee, and thou and thy lords, thy wives and thy concubines, have drunk wine in them, and thou hast praised the gods of silver and of gold, of brass, iron, wood, and stone, which see not nor hear, nor know, and the God in whose hand thy breath is, and whose are all thy ways, hast thou not glorified. Then was the part of the hand sent from him, and this writing was written. And this is the writing that was written. Mene, mene, tekel, upharsin. That is, this is the interpretation of the thing. Mene, God hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Listen now. God hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances and art found wanting. You're judged. Phares, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians. Medo Persia conquer you tonight. Then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet and put a chain of gold about his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him, that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. In that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain, and Darius the Median took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. So this 62-year-old man helped in conquering Babylon and done it. Yep. So the same night, they kill him. Numbered thy kingdom and finished it. So here's the point. Now go and get to. Let me jump straight in it. Let's close off the vision here. Start at the end part here, so. And the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. Therefore, shut thou up the vision for it shall be for many days. There's no other vision given here, not even the one when the start of Jeremiah, when he was told to shut it up. You understand what I'm saying to you? Daniel was not told to shut up the vision in Daniel chapter 8. So in chapter 9 or so on. But this one he was told to shut this one up because it shall not be for many days. The vision start off in a Daniel lifetime, the one with the 70 year, because guess what? Daniel was alive when the vision start in the first year of Cyrus. He was there. Let me show you he was there. In the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, and 2 years ago, Cyrus made a decree. Cyrus made a decree 2 years ago. So how could it be then that God would have said to Daniel, say, shut up the vision, for it shall not be for many days. And 2 years now, Daniel in a division. You guys understanding? I hope you're getting it because I don't know how much clear I can make it, but I'll slowly try. Giselle, Tracy, and Brother Garfield, Brother Ricardo, Sister Ann. You guys understand? The vision that
Yeah,
they
I understand
in
it.
2300 days should be shut up because for a long time. That's what Daniel was told. But yet still, he might live 2 years into the vision. How that will work? You understand the conflict with the Adventist point of view? Brother Garfield, what you say? You understand?
I mean, I try, whether be.
Yeah, try. Yeah, try. All right, no problem. All right, but all right, you understand this question though? All right. God gave Daniel a vision at chapter 9, 2300 days, yeah? And close the vision at Daniel chapter 8. Close up the vision by saying, now listen, man. He said to Daniel, wherefore shut up the vision, for it shall be for many days. So if it's the case that it's going to be for many days, why tell him to shut it up? If it is going to be that the vision start already in a theme lifetime. You understand that? That's all mixed up, right? God said, oh, the vision will be for many days, but yet still, it start in a theme time. If you shut up the book, that don't make no sense. Shut up the vision kind of occur in a for your lifetime. Not shall be for many days. You understand the question, Brother Garfield? What I'm trying to ask?
In a way, because if you say many days, so many days can be how long then? Put it away then.
I'm going to be way longer, right?
Yeah.
And if you pay attention to it, based upon the Adventist point of view, the vision would have started off when Daniel alive. So they might call God liar. In the third year, in the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto me, Daniel. So in other words, Daniel was alive up until the third year of Cyrus' reign. Cyrus made the decree to rebuild Jerusalem in the first year of his reign, Ezra chapter 1. Now, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord came, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and to put it also in writing, saying, thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord hath given me, the Lord of heaven, sorry, hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is Judah. So therefore, then, if a Cyrus make a decree and a far away from now, how that will work? Then was alive 2 years after this decree make. How that will work? I got a liar. See? In the first year of Cyrus. First year of Cyrus. So Ezra was alive when Daniel was alive. Ezra and Daniel were alive at the same time. Yeah? So now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, all right, the decree was made, right? See Daniel alive here now in the third year of Cyrus. 2 years later, still alive. So it means that the start time, as Adventists say, for the 2300-day prophecy must be wrong. He can't write. Because why would God give Daniel a vision? No. And say, seal up the book, for it shall not be for many years. Seal up the prophecy won't be for many years. Yeah? Here's what God say no. All right. Stop thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. But the start of 2 years to come, how that makes sense? And he's still alive? That don't make no sense. It wrong. I hope you can at least getting the idea of it still though. I hope it kind of making sense at least to some little extent.
Yeah, no,
And
me get
Giselle,
that. Yeah,
you get
no,
me,
me get
Giselle?
that. Yeah, no, me get that understanding what you say. And God cannot lie, so I must them,
Yeah, most them somewhere wrong with them,
yeah,
and
something wrong.
two different prophecy. Chapter 8 prophecy is different from chapter 9 prophecy. Chapter 9 prophecy about going to rebuild Jerusalem. I talk about from the decree where Cyrus make for go rebuild Jerusalem. I talk about the coming of Christ when Christ will come. Right? That is why when the wise when Herod went go, oh no wise man, what go on? Then say we say Messiah I go born at Bethlehem, Judah. Oh, the talk go on, can I search your books and find out? Oh, I'll kill off all the them then. Kill off all the children because they read and they understood. They knew this is Christ because they understood the prophecies. But the one in chapter 8 has nothing to do with the coming of Christ. Has something different altogether. You understand, Brother Ricardo? You good?
The first coming of Christ.
The first coming of Christ. Brother Ricardo, you good? Yes, in the chat also. Giselle, you understanding? Much better now, yes. All right, cool. Giselle, how you stay? This is Tracy, how you stay as well? All right. Let us continue, yeah? All right. So here what now? Let's break a little bit. So now we can understand that the prophecies in Daniel chapter 8 is a different prophecies from chapter 9 because Daniel chapter 9 prophecy really come from the book of Jeremiah. I read in the books of Jeremiah, right? So let's continue, right? So Daniel chapter 8 says, right? Picking up back at the prophecy 23 today now. And somebody saying something? All right. And yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down, and an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. That's a little on point, right? And when I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint. So two saints are speak together, right? How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice? You know, ask about how long is the vision, you know. He want to talk about the daily sacrifice part. The daily sacrifice part start round about here, so about verse 10, because about verse 11, sorry. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. In the start of no ram and a he goat. Start about verse 3. I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before me, before the river, a ram, which had two horns. And here, so the prophecy start. What that is being asked about. He might talk about the daily sacrifice. So the ram representing Media and Persia, the vision concerning the daily sacrifice ever start this up. Then came the he goat, and as a verse 5, I beheld an he goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. And the he goat had a notable horn between his eyes. The vision concerning the daily sacrifice never started this either. Right? It started off, therefore the he goat was very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. It never started here, so either. right? We're getting closer now, but in the class this, right? And out of one of them came forth a little horn. The same little horn we read in chapter 7. We come out of the fourth kingdom. Little horn, a little horn. Yep. This little sickness, all right? Same back here, we find the next window, we can open chapter 7 clearly, right? Chapter 7. Way down. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devoured and break in pieces and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, the same fourth beast, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. And the fourth beast, this beast now the one will come up in the time of Rome, not Greece. So God give the secrets of the kingdoms, to the image that are one. Give again 2 beasts that are 2. Then now he start talking about the little hand power, the problem one. Let's go to next. Let me go back here. So, right? Right? Let's continue, right? And it waxed great even toward the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. And he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And an host was given him against daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and they cast down the truth to the ground, and they practiced and prospered. Right? Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot? Daniel now wants to know, or that saint wants to know, about this part of the vision. The part of the vision that occurs in the fourth kingdom. Right? Let's continue. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Let's get into the meaning now, because the meaning will come. And it came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision, and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Uli, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. Okay? Make him understand the vision. So he came near where I stood. And when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. For at the time of the end shall be the vision. In other words, when the world will come to an end. No problem. We won't begin for that, see, right? No, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be. Again, the end, the end. All these ends were gone, the kingdoms are ending up. The end. He might talk about no kingdoms are done. Kings arise and fall. I'm having a problem here. The wall that I'm resting my back on sometimes I relax. The wall hot. But then the AC on. So I can have a mix of hot and cold thing going on here. Let me just move away a little bit, right? Anyway, let's get going. I know, give me 1 second, make some adjustments, give me 1 second. All right. All right. Microphone check. You guys hear me clearly? All right. Yeah, the wall is extremely hot. I'm resting back on and so on. Everybody hear me still? All right, good. So let's continue. Let's wrap up a few things now, right? And he said, Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be. Right? At the time appointed, the end shall be. Let us go into the prophecy. The ram which thou sawest, having two horns, are the kings of Media and Persia. You see, Gabriel clear. Gabriel now mix no words now, you know. He might tell him, say, I'm Media and Persia. Remember the images, you know, that we saw, that we looked at. We looked at from actually gold, Babylon, silver, Media and Persia, right? Go again. The animals now. Babylonian Empire, lion, bear, Media, Persia, and so forth. But now he went to the ram, Media, Persia. See there? Then Grecia. We're going to look at it now, right? So start off with Babylon again. He might emphasize something now. God wants us to focus in on something important, right? So here's what it is, right? See which one, right? The ram which thou sawest, having two horns, are the kings of Media and Persia. Is that Amory, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I was about to say that Daniel didn't have the vision, the dream of Babylon anymore. He started off of Media and Persia. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, because Babylon done. The Babylon done. Like,
Yeah.
even though Babylon is basically, even though it's no, right? In the third year of Belshazzar, a vision. Belshazzar, the same king, when I kill, because I'm party. Yeah. It's believed that um thing that party occurred the following year after this vision, you know. So Babylon went done. Babylon basically done now, right? All right. The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia. And the rough he goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. No, when I got curious about this, the first king, I say, I'm going to look up something, yeah? Decided to go do some checks. Um, who was the first king of United Ancient Greece? That is what I'm going to look for, right? Who was the first king? There wasn't a single universally recognized. There wasn't a single universally recognized first king of United Ancient Greece in the way that that term might imply for a single nation state. In other words, the Greek nation then was a set of warring tribes and people. One little part over the sun is a part over the sun and then war, right? But listen to this, right? Because God in the line now. Ancient Greece was a collection of independent city-states, such as polis, right, that were often in conflict with each other. While figures like Philip II of Macedon and his son Alexander the Great did bring much of the Greek world under their control. This unification was through conquest and empire building rather than a voluntary union of equals. We're going to get rid of all of it because that don't really matter. That part don't really matter. Alexander the Great united the city states and everything, conquer them as like a man. We're going to fight war now. Did you Alexander Philip II of Macedon and his son Alexander the Great? Alexander, let me Google this, right? Why was Alexander great? Alexander the Great was considered great due to his unparalleled military genius, his creation of a vast empire, and his impact on the spread of Hellenistic culture, whatever that is. He conquered an empire stretching from Greece to India in a remarkably short time, while also fostering cultural exchange between Greece and the East. I mean, like this man, serious war man, you know. Alexander was a brilliant military strategist and tactician, never losing a battle in his 13-year reign. He led his armies from the front. He might fight from the front of the war, you know, the front lines, inspiring loyalty and fearlessness in his troops. This man died about 30 little bit year old. He conquered the world in no time flat. Yeah? Let's go again. How old was Alexander the Great when he died? 32 years old. Listen now. How old was Alexander when he became king? About 20 years old. The man was a teenager and he become king. Okay. And this is from National Geographic, yeah? Society, right? So let's continue. So this Alexander the Great, king of Greece, first, right? And the rough he-goat is the king of Greece, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. In other words, they won't be as strong and as powerful as Alexander, the four generals. Yeah? You know, but they deal with Rome, you know, Rome as in the iron, they go straight to the iron and clay. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. This is very important. Not by his own power. Right? Remember, the same little horn, because the horn started, you know, the four horns that came up, now it's the little horn, right? So it skip some part of the vision, and the whole light gonna deal with again, right? It might deal with certain specific areas now, right? And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper, and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. The only power that destroys the mighty and the holy people are the same little horn power. Same little horn power. He is the only one that does that. The same one that casts the truth down to the ground. Right? And through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. All right. Soon come to that part. We're going to do this part first. Verse 24. Right? And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. Remember that some people were destroyed by their own power, some nations. All right, fine. By the Greeks and so on. They do it by their own power. All right. But let's go a little bit here somewhere, right? In the book of Revelation, in the book of Revelation 13, it says this. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. The dragon. We all know who the dragon is. So this little horn power is empowered by the devil. Verse 4 says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. The papal power is a dark power. the one that is governed mainly by Satan. Revelation chapter 12 says this, right? Here it says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. The dragon gave, so behind the papal power is the devil. Brethren, we'll continue this now. I want you to understand certain things, right? So, and he shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. All right. Let's look at other part of it, right? And through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. Craft. Let's look and see what the word craft is used in the Bible. What references now, right? All right. Listen. After 2 days, let me zoom this up a bit. This is now from the book of Mark, chapter 14, verse 1. After 2 days, and here when Christ died, ready to die now, right? After 2 days was the feast of the Passover and of unleavened bread. And the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might take him by craft, deception, and lies. Right. And because he was of the same craft, he abode with them and wrought for the occupation were tent makers. This is a craft to talk about skill, right? Skill. That's one here at what craft. Also by skill, Mark Acts chapter 19. Here is 19 verse 27. Let me pull up this one. 19 verse 27 says this. Let's look at this. Right. Brethren, it does cross my mind to this now, See how the word craft is used in the Bible. Witchcraft, whatever we want to talk about, right? So let's continue. After these things were ended, Paul purposed in the Spirit, when he had passed through Macedonia and Achaia, to go to Jerusalem, saying, after I have been there, I must also see Rome. So he went to Macedonia. So he sent into Macedonia 2 of them that ministered unto him, Timotheus and Erastus. But he himself stayed in Asia for a season. And the same time there arose no small stir about that way. For a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana. You see that Diana, Wonder Woman? See how that we're about her, Diana. That's same Diana there. Brought no small gain unto the craftsmen. Is a goddess, Diana. That's the Wonder Woman, Diana, yeah. Name after a goddess. Whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation and said, sirs, we know that by this craft we have our wealth. Could be skill. All right, but we're going to see later on to here. Because it means skill as well. Moreover, ye see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul hath persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods, which are made with hands. Diana and all the people, right? They make, right? And carve out. So not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught, but also the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all of Asia and the world worshipeth. So, let's go back here. Just want you to know that I see that, The craft thing there, what do they say? As long as you say God, the whole of it good. You know what which God you're talking about? As long as we're all saying God, we're all good. Same God we serve. And that God say? And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. I mean, who are preach and talk about peace like the popes? There shall be peace, man. Peace, peace, peace. And God said there's no peace. Peace and safety, sudden destruction. As a woman in travail. All right? He also shall stand up against the prince of princes, but shall be broken without hand. The same reference without hand. You remember it? Can anybody, except Anne-Marie, because we go through this several times as a family, anybody remember this phrase, broken without hand? Anybody remember that phrase, eh? Does anyone remember that phrase? Ricardo says yes. From the vision of the statue, yes. From the vision or the dream when Nebuchadnezzar have both the statue. Let's look at it now, right? Thou sawest still that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and break them in pieces. There are other references as well. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, the gold, the great God hath made known unto the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. So, brethren, here is all, and this time I say, I am trying to share with you. Yeah. The 2300-year prophecy ends when this occurs, broken without hand. That is what I, by understanding this vision, I try to declare to you. Because that is what Daniel sought the meaning of. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall sanctuary be cleansed. And no Gabriel come tell him what the vision means. And tell him. Explain to him what the ram is, the he-goat, and now start explain about the whole idea now of when the sanctuary is cast down. And the truth and all those things. Let's continue. And the vision of the evening and the morning, which was told, is true. Now, let me explain this as best as I possibly can. The evening and the morning, these 5 words together, are only used one place in the Bible. They are used in this exact sequence only one place. The evening, let me highlight the word of this. The evening and the morning. Me highlight it. I'll just click on the magnifying glass. I want to see for yourself. See there? All of them show up in Genesis chapter 1. 1:5, 1:8, letter 2, 1:13, letter 3, 1:23, letter 4, 1:31, letter 5, 1:31, letter 6, right? Let's pay attention. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No 7. The only place in the Bible where you find the exact wording, the evening and the morning, is in Daniel chapter 8, verse 26, and Daniel chapter 1, verse 13. You may wonder, why is that important? Not a problem. I'll gladly share it with you, my brothers and my sisters. In Numbers chapter 14, a prophecy was given. All right. So, 124. Yeah, start up there. All right, cool. Yeah, here it is. All right. After the number, listen, 134, not 124. My mistake. It was, sorry. It's not 1424, it's 1434. After the number of the days in which ye search out the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall ye bear your iniquities, even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of promise. So God said, listen, man, I want to spend 40 days and search out the whole country. Guess what? A 40 years, no wonder the place for. Wonder in the wilderness. So prophetically, day for a year. And ye shall bear your iniquities even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of promise. I, the Lord, have said, I will surely do it unto this evil congregation that are gathered together against me in this wilderness. They shall be consumed, and there they shall die. So that's day for a year. We can go to Ezekiel again. Ezekiel chapter 4. All right. So let us go here, right? Lie also upon thy left side, and lay the iniquity of the house of Israel upon it, according to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon it, thou shalt bear the iniquity. For I have laid upon thee the years of the iniquity, according to the number of the days, 390 days. So shall thou bear the iniquity of the house of Israel. So this man have to lead up on his side 390 days, that's over a year. And when thou hast accomplished them, lie again on thy right side, and thou shalt bear the iniquity of the house of Judah 40 days. I have appointed thee each day for a year. So when the Bible says day for a year principle in prophecy, that's true. But the reason Gabriel now come and said to Daniel, said, listen, man, this is not the same thing. And the vision of the evening and the morning, that reference is only used in Genesis chapter 1. So if Genesis chapter 1 means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, the Sabbath day, then it means this also means 1, 2, 3, 4, 1,000, 2,000, 23 days. Literal days. And the vision of the evening and the morning, which was told is true. He never said days. He said evening and the morning. And the only place these 5 words are used together is in Genesis chapter 1. So, if one can find a way to twist the Bible to mean that the evening and the morning mean 2,300 years, not days, then it means then someone can reasonably say that God takes 600 years, or not 600, 6 years to create the world. And on 6 days, and 6 years, because the exact sequence is the vision of the evening and the morning, which was told is true. If it says here the evening and the morning, a day for a year, in Genesis chapter 6, it means God never created the world in 6 literal days, and 6 years it took him to create the world. 6 years. And that is absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. And the vision of the evening and the morning, which was told is true. Wherefore, shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. In other words, it not going to start for many years, or many days, before it even start. And 2,300 literal days this. And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days. After I rose up and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it. All right, so here's the point now. Here's what I'd like to expose to you guys. If we can figure out the start time of this vision, we can know when Christ will come. And we're not supposed to know. If we can figure out the start time of this vision, we will know when Christ is coming. Why? Because at the end of this vision, the little horn is going to be broken without hand. At the end of this vision, the little horn is broken without hand. That is what the vision means. It's not no cleansing of no sanctuary. We're in 1844. That's foolishness. Utter madness. Utter craziness. The start time is not the decree to rebuild Jerusalem. That is for a different prophecy. We are not supposed to know the start time of this vision. If we know the start time, we can figure out almost to the year when Christ will come. Because he is the one that ends the little horn power. And the little horn power, I him I cause the problem. I cause the truth to the ground. I trod the sanctuary underfoot. I tell all kind of lies. I change times and God's law. I him I do all of that. And Jesus himself said, me I can end him myself personally. I can block him without hand. Grab him like you get the tool, one of the pencil to snap him like a twig, like a matchstick. And it's easier for Christ broke him too than that. Now how would I break a matchstick? That is what the vision means. So no one knows exactly when this vision starts. Because the start point up here is about the run that now have nothing to do the start time of the 2300 days. It a talk about from when the truth, the little hand power start up, yes, and then know from when in cast the truth to the ground and stamped upon them and the host and so forth. You see? And it cast down the truth to the ground and practice and prosper. How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice? And that they matter about. Not about from the vision, the whole vision start. They're talking about from the part of the vision when the daily sacrifice is taken away, the sanctuary cast to the ground, and they might kill sins and practice and prosper. And that is what talk about. And for all we know, that maybe don't start yet. At 2300 literal days. That is why I said the evening and the morning, the evening and the morning, which was told is true. And he said, it shall not be for many days. The date and the days only use yourself, not be for many days. He must say, the vision of the day was true. The evening and the morning, the exact wording of creation week. That is what is happening. It cannot work that way. Mr. Anne-Marie, go ahead, please. Ask a question.
So that's why Daniel didn't understand that part of the vision. He could not understand it because it wasn't.
He asked. I wouldn't have said Daniel never understand the vision. I think he understood the vision.
No, in verse 27, you can go down and Daniel
fainted and was sick certain days. Afterward, I rose up and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision, but none understood. Do you think? But none. Do you think it's Daniel or not about other people?
I think his other people are him and the rest, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I'm not
All
sure.
right, no
but
problem. No problem. Hold on. No problem, man. All right. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So, question, are you saying that Gabriel is not a good teacher? Or the voice that uttered to Daniel, never know what about, uttered to Gabriel to go teach Daniel, never know what about?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
So therefore then, if we're going to hold it to be true that, listen, Gabriel can teach, and I don't know of any other angel commanding Gabriel, you know. As somebody bigger than Gabriel to command him, right? And if it's a man's voice, it could be the Son of Man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Uli, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So whoever it is commanded Gabriel had to be someone of great authority. So him tell Gabriel to go make this man Daniel understand. And Gabriel come and tell Daniel. So when I read this, I think Daniel understood it, but no one else did.
Yeah, it's just that part, the fierce beast that could not describe that last power.
Yeah.
That last power I was talking about. That
Oh, well, at the
because
beginning, he never understood it, but Gabriel come and talk to him and show him what go on.
yeah, so
There's a thing
it's the
about spirits,
last
you know.
vision, it's the last part, the last kingdom. They tell him to shut up because it's not for his time, right?
Yes, yes, because he was
Okay.
living through Babylon. He lived through a part of the Medes and the Persians.
Yeah.
He was there to bridge two kingdoms, Babylon and Media Persia. He bridged that two time period. So it could
Yeah.
not be that he's talking about starting from that time. He's talking about from the time when they cast the truth down to the ground and practiced and prospered and those things. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. That's the part that was giving Daniel problems, but he understood it. But no one else did. I would think that this voice that commanded Gabriel was Jesus. I would think so, but I don't see it pointed out directly, so I don't say for sure that it was. I don't know anybody commanding Gabriel but Jesus, or the Father, or the Holy Ghost. I'm God have to command Gabriel. He's a cherub. He's in the presence of God every day, so nobody can tell Gabriel what to do. You know? So that is how that vision goes, my brothers and my sisters. So whatever you want to hear about the 2300-day prophecy, about starting in from Artaxerxes' decree or Cyrus' decree, is all that is foolishness, utter foolishness. Because the vision, the 2300 days, had nothing to do with the time from when the ram was around or when the he goat was around or when the horn was broken. The earliest starting point you can think about a little horn, when a little horn came up. That's the earliest starting point you can think of. That's the earliest you can think of. So that is what it is. And no, it's going to take a little bit of effort, a little bit of time to get into. But if you spend some time reading the book of Daniel, it becomes clearer and clearer and so forth. I know there's a bit to take in still. Feel any better about it, Sister Tracy Ann? Brother Garfield, Sister Giselle, Brother Ricardo? Any clearer? All right, brothers. All right, brothers and sisters. That is what it is. There's a little bit more we can go still, but I don't want to. I had an understanding before, but I don't have any question now. No problem. No problem, Brother Ricardo. There's more to it, but I figured that I gave you guys a lot to chew on today, and I don't want anybody to get upset stomach or to choke. So I think I gave you too much today, as a matter of fact. All right, but we can go it over if needs be. Um, during the week, into the weekend. and we can see how things work out, and we can chop it up in smaller, more manageable pieces. Because it has some things to do with revelation and what we're going to face now. As you can see, the continuation of the same beast with 10 horns and them stuff and little horn power. Yeah. That little horn is going to be alive in our time because it's Christ that comes and end that little horn power. Jesus himself come and end it. So it will be here more than likely in our time. Yes. Who think they're serving God but are serving the devil? What do I mean by that? Not a Protestant Giselle. There are people who are serving the devil thinking they are serving God. Let me show you exactly where that is coming from. John 16, verse 1 and 2. These things have I spoken unto you, that ye should not be offended. They shall put you out of the synagogues, like put you outside the church, kick you out of the church. Yea, the time cometh that whosoever killeth you will think that he doeth God service. So where it comes from, Sister Giselle? This is where it comes from. I know it's not about Daniel, but I am concerned. Talk to me, Giselle. What going on? Tell me. Mute your mic or text me. I'll sit down and wait for you to text it out if you want to text it out.
No, it's just that question.
Oh, that's a question, yeah, man. This was from a time when they were killing Christians a lot instead of serving God, and people took it up too. Paul was doing this, you know. Paul was killing Stephen, thinking that boy, he might do God service. All right. So killing Stephen, and he was thinking he was serving God, but he wasn't. If you read between Acts chapter 6 and chapter 7, you can realize that listen now. Where is it? Where is it again? All right. Come to the heart. Fall asleep. All right, listen to this, right? Here it is. Then they cried out with a loud voice and stopped their ears and ran upon him with one accord. There's another thing too. And all the time people united, they are united for good. These people, you were united in killing Stephen. They cried out with a loud voice and stopped their ears and ran upon him with one accord. And they cast him out of the city and stoned him. And the witnesses laid down their clothes at a young man's feet, whose name was Saul. This is the Saul we believe was later converted, that became a Christian, because we know that and Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest and desired of him letters to Damascus, to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem. And as he journeyed, he came near to Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. So Saul is not the only one. Saul who became Paul is not the only one. There are many other people who they think they are doing God's service, killing the people of God. There are people who are doing it deliberately, doing it. They know, so they're not serving God. But in our time, however, is not killing. The persecution that and tribulation that people expecting is not what's coming. It's not coming. It is not coming. When I read the Bible, that's not what I see. It's talking about what we have to worry about is deception. So many lies and deceptive things going on that you can't trust nobody. You can't trust me. You can't trust the pastors. You can't trust elders. You can't trust presidents. You can't trust nobody with the salvation. Only God alone you can't trust. Only God. That is why you find only prophecies where I will interject and say certain things and whatever. Prophecy. But when it comes to doctrine and so on, no. The Bible is crystal clear. But prophecy, on the other hand, prophecy requires a little bit more, yeah, different approach because prophecy is not chicken. It is difficult to come to grips with how it's going to play out. But here's why it's good to know it. Because you see, the Holy Spirit has a task. And his task is this, right? Jesus himself gave in one era some of the descriptions of the Holy Spirit in terms of what he will do. Some of the job descriptions, right? It says, but the Comforter, which is the Holy Ghost, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things. That's one. And bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you. So bringing things to remembrance is that when the prophecies start to fulfill, having known about it through the scriptures, he'll remind us, I say, see this, and I remind about the text, I can say, oh yes, miss, you know. Right? But the truth is, to understand it before it happens is never an easy thing. Is never an easy thing. Right? That's extremely difficult. Yeah. Extremely, extremely difficult. All right. Are there any questions, anybody? Any questions at all?
Brother, we still have watchers come down in full time, you know.
Watchers. Look at